Welcome back to New Start Discipleship. Today my phone battery is too low, so I had to plug it in out here in the foyer of the church because I couldn't find my plug, and it's the only place I could get one that would plug in. So anyway, so I'm a little different spot today. I want to tell you we're on day number 33, and it is Joshua 1 and Judges 1 and 2. Now, here's what happens. God's people come out of Egypt under Moses. He guides them through the wilderness. There's wandering around. They start to enter the land that God promised to give them, the land that he promised to Abraham way back. We were reading, this is 450 years, it's more than that, over 400 years ago. And so Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, children of Israel down in Egypt, then they multiply as slaves. God brings them out under Moses. They go back to the land of Canaan, the land of Israel that God has promised to give them. At that time, Moses dies just as they are about to cross over into the land that God has given to them. And Moses is succeeded as leader by a young man named Joshua, who is, well, he's not super young by that time, but he's like kind of Moses' assistant, his right-hand man. And he begins to lead the people, and he leads them to conquer and begin to take over the land that God promised to give them. But there's a problem. When Joshua, they obey the Lord through the lifetime of Joshua. But then there starts to be a real problem. And the rest of the history of the people of God in this part of the Bible is very up and down and up and down. So they follow the Lord after Joshua, and God blesses them. And then they don't quite finish the conquering of the land. They don't eliminate and drive out all of the other false God worshiping people there. And just like God predicted, those false idols become a snare to them. They become a source of sin. And so those false gods become idols and become ones that are worshipped together with God. And God is only one. He's the only one there is, and all their gods are false gods, and he will not tolerate an idol in his people's lives. And I will tell you, so thing number one, I want you to understand that when God asks you to obey, just obey completely, right? When he says, I want to drive out all sin in your life, allow him to do that and take whatever measures necessary to take that territory. You say, well, I've got a lot of anger, I've got a lot of issues, I've got some addictions, listen, let God conquer. Let God conquer. Let him help you to conquer those things and drive them out so they are not a snare to you later on, all right? Even blessings, even God's blessings and areas that he allows you to take over in your life, a new territory, new blessings, and new kindnesses that he gives you can be a snare if you don't allow God to have it and let it conquer sin completely in your life. So I think it's something you should start longing for right now, all right? To let God completely help you conquer all the areas of your heart, all the idols of the heart, all the old habits, right? So there starts to be this cycle of obedience and disobedience that happens. So they obey God under Joshua, but then they start sliding into idolatry and worshiping other gods. And then they get conquered by their enemies, and they cry out to God. And this is what we start seeing in Judges chapter 1 and 2, where they cry out to God, and then God says, all right, and he sends them a person who will lead them, and they do well for a while, and then that person dies or moves on or something, and they forget what they promised God, and they drop back into sin, and it goes up and down and up and down and up and down, over and over and over again. And so I just want to tell you that let your hunger for God, drive you to fully chase out every last little bit of idolatry that you can find in your heart, and let God conquer you all the way, all right, and lead you all the way into the land of blessing that he's promised you, all right? God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.